Hey, welcome back. This is a different type video. I'm doing these for some people who live overseas who are trying to attempt to make American style pancakes. I have this recipe. This is a buckwheat pancakes. I tend to make buckwheat pancakes instead of just the generic fluffy ones, and I do mine from scratch. And I do it gluten-free. So this can be gluten-free or not gluten-free, either way you want. But very simple recipes. We're gonna not work on these liquid ingredients. First, we're gonna do the dry ingredients. Half a cup of flour, half a cup of buckwheat. This is buckwheat flour. I get it in bulk. It is gluten-free. So I'm just taking half a cup of this, dump in there. Here is a brand for buckwheat flour. You can find that. And then I'm using a half a cup of this gluten-free flour, about a half a cup. So we got that. Next, we need some leavenings. So you can do it a baking powder with salt combination, or you can do it a baking soda with salt combination. I forget which one does which, but I prefer the one with the baking powder. Kind of makes a firmer type of leavening, but it's all just chemical leavening. This takes two teaspoons. Let me get the teaspoons right. 2 teaspoons, because we need our leavening. 1, 2, and then a half a teaspoon of the salt. So that will do for our leavenings. Just that easy. Half a cup of your white flour, half a cup of the buckwheat flour. That is that. Now, it wants a little bit of sugar. And that just counteracts a little bit of the tartness, especially of the buckwheat. So I don't put in much. Maybe like a tablespoon and a half of just granulated or caster sugar. And then I am just going to mix that up. Just mix that up. Now there's other ingredients that dry ingredients I could put in here. Sometimes I put little ground ginger. You can use ginger, yeah. I have used ginger, but this time I'm just using some ground cinnamon. Just a little bit. But you can do ginger, any other flavor combinations, dry ingredients. That's what's important at this step. Now we go to the wet ingredients. So I have 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I have milk. Milk will vary. It says a half a cup to 3/4, but this is pretty dry, so it's going to need closer to the 3/4. And 3/4 is about 200 mils. And save the milk out. You might need it some more if you don't have enough milk. If you need to thin this batter out, you can also just add plain water. You don't need this. And then I have my 1 egg beaten up. So I'm going to put this in here. We've got all of my ingredients. There's one other thing I sometimes add. This is my homemade concoction. This is not any secret recipe. This is just some vanilla extract. It just adds a little bit of kind of flavor to it. Here we go. Mix this up. Mix. This is a batter bowl. It has a lip on it. And then I need to add the egg. If you're vegan, you can substitute out other non-dairy liquids. Definitely you can do that. I've done it with soy milk. I've done it with almond milk before. Those are the ones I have tried. And then the egg, you can switch that out for a little bit of ground flaxseed with water made into a paste, or you can put a mashed banana. A lot of people out there who are vegan know the kind of binders you need. The egg just is a binder. That's it. Just going to help you keep the ingredients together. But this is just such a basic recipe. You can mix and match and add and subtract whatever you need. So now you can see right here, I've blended everything, but I'm not deliberately over blending it. See, there's lumps in it. That's what I want to keep the lumps. This is not a cake batter. We're not doing a cake batter. Let me get some stuff off of here. Okay. So I have, this is over here. Let's see if I can move you now. So right here is my griddle. I like cast iron. I like cooking with cast iron. So you hear that griddle, that sizzle sizzle? That's hot. In fact, it might be a little bit too hot, but we will give this a go. The first, I had put some vegetable oil. You can substitute vegetable oil as a fat in this recipe as well. So I put a little bit of oil on here to help it not stick. I've got my butter out and ready, and I've got my pure maple syrup out and ready. Let me just let this oil heat up. If it's too hot, you can see it's only a number 3. It's because once cast iron heats up, it keeps its heat. So I'm just going to do one. Now you could pour it out. I know that this is about the size I want. The batter is thick. It's not too thick and it's not too runny. You can see that. Not too thick, not too runny. This will thicken up in time as the flour and the buckwheat especially just sucks in all the moisture. So that's why we're leaving out the milk, or you can use water just to water it down just a little bit. You don't want it too thick. So here I wait. If you can see that. Yeah, you can see that from here. Let me see if I can get in any closer. There you go. It's a little bit better. So you're looking for it to be dry, start drying out on the inside, and these little bubbles that pop, first they form and then they will pop. So I'm waiting for the outside to dry off. And then I'm looking for these bubbles that mean that it's cooking on the center. And this is also pretty brown already because this heated up maybe a little bit too much. So I'm trying to cool it down on the number 3 on my stove. There we go. Yep. Flip it. There she goes. How's that? And I have my plate out, ready to go. I make about 2 of these at a time. The flat griddle is nice. You don't have to have it. If you have just, a regular, that's fine. But the griddle gives it a nice brown, which I really like, golden brown. And once it heats up, there's kind of a sweet spot I find where it just makes beautiful pancake again and again and again. Whereas the other more modern aluminum do not. But do not fret if you do not have this. I think it's ready. So I'm just going to show you on the other side. It's a little bit brown here. I can make it a little bit browner there. Again, I'm using electric. You have a bit more, I guess, more control if you're using gas. But I just have never had gas, and this is just fine. I learned when to add heat, when not to add heat for these. But these wonderful, wonderful. Let me get my thing started here. Let me get it going. So see, I can pour it out. And I already can tell that the batter is getting a little thick. And I'll do a mini one over here. Do a mini one. I'll do a mini one. Do a mini one. Towards the outside, it's not going to be as hot as is in the center, of course. There you go. So we can have some mini ones. Now, what I serve with it, okay, this is maple syrup. You may not have this in Europe or other places. Especially with the buckwheat, you can use applesauce, just a nice applesauce. That's a really nice combination. but we don't here typically use that. We don't typically use jam or preserves or any of that. We don't typically use that here. And of course, slathering it with some nice butter. I have some Irish butter here. And if you have a nice stack of them, just put that on. This will melt. As I'm waiting for that, that will melt. I put my maple syrup. I know, isn't this lovely? And we'll give it a taste. We'll give it a taste. Nice. Just really, really nice. Just the buckwheat is so filling that when I make these, nobody can eat more than a couple. The buckwheat expands in your tummy. It's really a meal in itself. So if you ever want to try some buckwheat pancakes, this is the little video I made for those who, especially overseas, you don't know what the measurements are, you don't know ingredients. It doesn't take long at all. It's not a big deal for making it from scratch. You don't need to buy any biscuits or any pre-fat. You don't need to do. You can just see flour, egg, leavening. Really, that's all we need. A little oil, some sort of oil in it. You can use. There we go. Lovely. Look, here's my second one already done. We used to have this kind of as a dinner. We call it kind of a breakfast dinner. Very filling, especially for little hungry kids. Easy to make up. Don't buy the store-bought. You don't need any of that. Just a few ingredients is all you need. And I hope anybody out there who's going to try it, let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, just let me know. And I'll see you next time.